supervisory staff across the city of Cleveland, which is comprised of all levels of management across all departments, from leads and foremen all the way up to and including executive staff. Back in 2024, we were approved and brought on a consultant under Ordinance 110/2024 in order to provide the framework, an assessment and framework as it related to actually two projects for the city of Cleveland. One was the development of a performance management program, citywide performance management program, which I had previously mentioned to some of you in the Finance Committee that there was a soft rollout in October of 2025. The hard rollout of that program will be in 2026, contemporaneous with the launch of our new human capital management system. The other piece, though, to that vendor work was to assess and create a framework for this management training program, which the consultant did an excellent job in doing and gave us a lot of vital information based off of a lot of assessment, organizational training needs assessments, interviews with many stakeholders across the city of Cleveland to develop, exactly what those needs were for training, which also roll right into the performance management as well. It's definitely tied in together, Chair. So this piece in 2026 is really step two, right, of this process in which now we are wanting to bring someone on to help us with the training portion of this initiative. And I just want to note too that the initiative is a citywide mayoral initiative and really comes from one of the needs that was identified very early on in my tenure here at the city. And to the best of my knowledge and in discussions, has never been actually done for the city of Cleveland, where it's been a comprehensive training program for all management staff. If I can provide, or Janet can provide additional information as it relates to the either the results of the initial assessment and then the creation of the framework for the management training, or what we're looking at in RFP, should you like to hear it as well.
Okay. Within that, you said, Janet, got any points you would like to speak to?
Yes, Chairman, thank you. I think what's interesting to note in the work that was done with the consultant under the original ordinance was the needs assessment was primarily done to accomplish two things: to see if the city itself was ready to implement a very comprehensive management training program, as well as a performance management program. So they had two very specific components to that original work. In doing so, the OTNA, the needs assessment, did confirm that management at various levels. There was a written assessment that was sent to all managers, and then they hosted 14 focus groups with senior leadership. Management training is always a top-down initiative. If we do not have buy-in from the highest level of management, usually we see those programs maybe initially take off, but not quite finish. It was determined through all of that work that senior leadership was prepared to support a comprehensive management training program as well as a performance management training program. And the reason why both of those were put into one project is because, as Director Cole mentioned, they have to go hand in hand. When you outline the performance appraisal, it is usually based on job factors and competencies. Part of the OTNA was to say to all of our managers, where do you feel feel you are either not being trained sufficiently or your skill set can use a reboot or more of an enhancement. Based on all that data, it's how we arrived at the 6 competencies that you will see show up on a manager's performance evaluation tool. So we tried to very closely build programs where we had buy-in from all the folks who are going to be benefiting from these trainings and the evaluations. In doing that, we then were able to, once we had the performance tool set, it was very easy to start looking at what does the curriculum of a comprehensive management training program look like, because it has to tie back to the performance evaluations, because that's what people are going to be evaluated on. I think it's also important to note that when we talk about a management training program, we are talking about several levels of training. We know from the past, generationally, manager to manager, as new generations have come in and people have been promoted, without structured training, people are modeling their own version of management, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're modeling best practices. So we could, in some instances, have practices that are not efficient being utilized by managers because that is the only thing they know. We need to level set that. The framework looks at level setting the current management level. That encompasses about 1,100 managers. That's a lot of managers. This is not a one and done training. This is a comprehensive training that would probably take at least 24 hours of training to put every single one of our managers. The rest of the framework then takes a look at, through the performance management program, we can identify high potentials, meaning people who have the potential to move into management levels. By doing so, we're providing them training while they're still individual contributors, preparing them for the next level of work, which is a management level. Once they get in that management level, the next level is to require onboarding of them in that management position, which would require a whole training that they'd have to go through as first-time managers, so that by the time they achieve a management position where they have been managing maybe 2 years or more, they are very proficient in the skill sets that we have identified as being the benchmark for how you manage here in the city of Cleveland.
Well, thank you, Director. And what's your position?
Manager of talent.
Okay, thank you both for presenting this. I definitely do have a few questions, and then I will open it up to my colleagues. So when you talk about ordinance number 29-2026, which I believe is viewed as more so a comprehensive management training program, I definitely would like to see or ask what specific performance gaps or audit findings led to the determination that an external consultants are necessary.
Yes, to the chair. When you are training on soft skills, not when you're training how to utilize Excel or PowerPoint or anything transactional, that type of learning requires a number of different learning modalities and approaches. So you are not just sitting people in a room and lecturing or talking to them. It requires, usually the initial work starts with some sort of professional assessment. That could be Clifton Strengths, that could be DISC, that could be leadership assessments. We're trying to identify what a manager's strengths.
For the viewing public, can you please speak into the mic? Some of the people
I'm sorry.
at home is not hearing you
So
clearly.
what a manager's weaknesses and strengths are. So the training itself would have to then, those kinds of assessments would have to be administered by somebody who is certified in doing DISC training or any of the other nationally accepted assessments that are out there. That's a unique skill set that we don't currently have in my department. The next level would also be, in addition to classroom work, it would be cohort work. So that would be work that is being done in small groups, potentially outside of the classroom. That would be shadowing other leaders in other businesses, other public sectors. So the training that we are proposing through an RFP is multi-level, lots of learning modalities, which we just do not have the internal capacity to do appropriately.
Thank you. And then from that standpoint, I'd like to look at some data that you possibly are tracking, whether it's something that you have from turnover rates, disciplinary appeals, employee engagement surveys, exit interviews to say, we look at that type of data to determine that we need to have a management training system in place. But also I would like to ask, upon completion of this, as far as scope and deliverables, do we have, from this training, will we have things in place where people will be able to get certification, such as supervisor certification program? Do we have digital training modules? What all will be entailed in this actual scope of this program as far as this comprehensive management training? Is this something, hey, I went through this training now, I'm more well equipped to be able to be a supervisor, or I went through this manager training because HR just told me I need to do it? What is in place to incentivize or motivate managers to not just do the program for their job per se, but actually want to develop the skills to help them? Are we doing anything to help, such as provide supervisor certification certificate that allow a person to say, hey, I have this much management experience because I went through this program? Do you have anything like that in place or looking to do anything like that?
To the chair, yes, that would all be part of the proposal. So I can give you a very quick example of something we are currently doing with our human resource leads. We did a level setting training last year. Level set meant we introduced basic HR best practice principles to anyone who holds the title of an HR lead, somebody demonstrating HR functions within our departments. What we are doing in year 2 with that is we are creating a certification, which is an in-house certification. It will mirror some of the national certifications. It is not a national certification. Anyone is welcome to go out and get that. But internally, we are going to be building a program where they have to demonstrate mastery of those skills. What we would be doing with our managers is, my hope is that we would write this training, because it would be an ongoing requirement once we level set through this 1,000 or so current managers, that as part of anyone being evaluated on an annual basis as a manager, they would be required to take X number of training relating to management skill sets on an annual basis. So that continues to keep their skills sharp. We could also write into minimal qualifications. Certain levels of management positions would be required to either hold a national certification or successfully complete the training as prescribed by the city of Cleveland. So there's a number of different indicators we can build into the program, which is also part of our request to write an RFP, is not just the curriculum, which we already have the outline of the curriculum. That would also be written into the RFP as the scope of work. So we know what we want to train them. The nuances and the details of it, we would work with a consultant, very much like we worked in 2024 to produce the performance management program. That program is complete. It is done. All it has to do is be executed, and that is a program that we will maintain internally. Management training is a little bit bigger in its scope. which is why, again, we would like to request to bring in some external expertise, not just to train. The biggest part of their work would be to supplement internal training, put the managers through the training, along with their own certifications for all these assessments. But I would like to work very closely with a consultant to really complete a lot of what you've already asked about. How do we ensure continued intrinsic motivation? One of the things we know is that as managers progress in their careers, it makes them very marketable. And that would be another intrinsic driver, I think, of anybody going through this management program. Being able to successfully manage here at the city makes them very, very marketable to other departments. That's a huge intrinsic driver.
Yep, and then my last question before I open it up for questions from my colleagues. Within this training, is this just a one-time engagement, or will this be a recurring contract?
So to the chair, in the proposal, we need to level set. So it is a comprehensive training that current existing staff in people managing positions would have to complete. Beyond that, through the performance management program, they would be required to take ongoing CEUs. They can get them internally, or they would be able to get them externally, but they have to demonstrate that there is ongoing education either on their part or externally. There's city manager associations for public sector. There's all kinds of places they can get ongoing continuing ed. But in addition to that, we hope to catch these high potentials early because, again, that's a retention strategy. If we can start identifying career paths here within our own workforce where we see the potentials, those early glimmers of those competencies for people who are right now individual contributors, we want to move them into management positions. We have to get them ready. That would be more training that would be built into the fabric of our workforce that we would put people through as they step through higher levels of management.
All right, that's the only question I have. I open up to any members of the committee questions. Councilmember Shaw.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. Appreciate both of your time. Just a few questions I had as you described it, Director, is it Commissioner?
Manager.
Manager. All right, appreciate it. Through the chair to the director, I wanted to understand, will there be materials or will the curriculum be hours afterwards? Or is this, I still am not clear on like, will we get something that we get to keep after to train future cohorts, or is this a one-off?
Through the chair of the councilman, yes. We would own all of the materials associated with their work.
Okay, so what we're actually asking in the RFP is for them to come in and design that curriculum that we will then use in the future every time we have additional cohorts or classes of managers that we want to elevate. Is that correct?
Through the chair of the councilman, yes. And just to add on to what Janet had very well spelled out is, you know, one of the biggest things we see is the need for succession planning. And as this performance management program that's already been soft launched and will be hard launched, in addition to the management training, you know, the goal here really is to create generations of leaders, right, in all of these departments. Additionally, just one quick note too, as it relates to one of the questions the chairman had brought up a little bit earlier. You know, in human resources, we also see both the positives and the negatives that come from a lack of training, you know, on the back end of things, right? Whether that be related to grievances or discipline or complaints or charges filed. And a lot of those things can be steered directly back to the fact that they have not received adequate training when they became managers, potentially. You know, so the goal really, as Janet said, you know, is to level set, but then also to really upskill and then hopefully see a lot of these types of things start to diminish on the back end because they have the skills necessary as managers to do the right thing in the right situations. So I just wanted to make that additional note.
That makes sense. And as a former employment attorney, I can imagine the risk exposure we have when we have managers using different practices. So this really makes sense in terms of making sure we have uniform practices that managers are actually implementing. I wanted to understand what pace or frequency are we anticipating providing this in the future? Will it be annually after this first cohort, or will it be kind of as needed? I wanted to just understand what kind of the vision was for after this first cohort is done.
To the chair, to the council person, I think our vision, and again, this is where the RFP comes in, right?
Sure.
In looking at a lot of ideas, but where I believe we want to start is level set, train all existing managers. From that core curriculum, it's then very easy to build a curriculum one level down and build a curriculum up. So once we level set that, then we start working on building the curriculum for high potentials. High potentials are identified through performance management. Through performance management, that manager says to their individual contributor, I really like what I'm seeing. You've taken initiative, you've done all these different things. I would like to recommend that you go through a management training program. That program would already be spelled out for high potentials to give them the opportunity to apply for a management position. We can even make that requirement as part of our management positions that are open up. From there, once a manager is hired into that, so the individual contributor would be ongoing. It would be a program that would be designed for people to jump in and out of at kind of their own pace.
Okay.
Onboarding brand new managers, that would be very prescribed. So as we're hiring new managers, my vision is that we would have a set of training on a quarterly basis. So no matter what time of year you're hiring a manager, as part of that new manager's onboarding, they would be required to go through that upcoming quarter's training. They would have to successfully complete that as part of their onboarding to continue in their position. From there, that then becomes more the CEU model. Once you're in a management position.
And CEU is?
Continuing education. So that would be on them as part of their performance as a manager. We would say one of the requirements, one of your SMART goals, is to complete 6 hours of management relating training annually. That would be a standing SMART goal. I see it for all managers, anyone in a people manager.
Okay. Thank you to the manager through the chair. I appreciate that. And you, is it correct if I heard right that you're anticipating the initial cohort, we're anticipating about 1,000 employees to go through this?
Through the chair to the council person, we've estimated around 1,100 people managers right now.
Wow.
So that's going to take a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, so that's across all of our departments, different divisions, and I can imagine, I can see the need for making sure we have some uniformity in how HR is doing things. And so if we're doing all 1,100, are we going to be kind of doing it, or maybe this will be up to the RFP and we'll see what the process looks like and what comes up, but are we imagining different departments training together so we can break down some of the silos that we're in, or are we planning on kind of doing this department by department? Does that make sense?
Yes. So through the chair to the council person, very good question, right? That becomes part of the scope of work in the RFP. There's two schools of thought on that. You could keep managers together in large enough departments, right? Like departments, DPU, Public Works, Safety, even professional level departments, Public Health, Aging, similar departments. It's good because as you're working in cohorts, you have similar types of experiences in managing different pockets of individual contributors. The other school of thought is to intentionally mix it up. If I'm a manager in public health I don't manage a whole lot of unionized employees. I'm looking at paraprofessionals, professionals, and so that's good, right? I know how to manage those folks, but maybe I don't really appreciate or understand how to manage a more heavily unionized workforce and having to contend with that. That would be good to expand my learning and my understanding of that. So I would be very interested in learning more about what proposers think about best practices in that respect.
No, that makes sense. Thank you. And I think to me that makes sense. I don't really have too many other questions. The only thing I would kind of encourage the director and manager to keep in mind as we're going through the proposal and what we'd like to see, I think my suspicion and perhaps my bias is that a lot of where these employment training methods come out of is the corporate world,
Yes.
where there is, I think, an inherent anti-union bias. And I would like us to encourage and think about, okay, how are we implementing those practices? Are we making sure that whichever contractor or professionals that we choose, they have a record of actually being pro-union or making sure that those anti-union practices aren't creeping in? And this can be done in a variety of ways, whether through consulting with the unions that we already have, or seeing what kind of record they have in other cities or where they've employed this. So that's just my recommendation. Hope that so. Yeah, check.
Through the chair to the councilman in response, that is a very, very important point. And we have many individuals in manager roles that are unionized as well. So, to your point, and the fact that the grand majority of our employees are unionized, they do have to come in with the mindset that you're describing. Otherwise, the cookie cutter non-union model is not going to be effective here. Thank you for that.
So if I can just add to that, through the chair to the council person, there are two primary human resource associations, national associations. Most people are familiar with SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Management. SHRM is pretty much representing the corporate world. So I tend to shy away from that a little bit. There is a public sector national organization called PESHRA, which is the public, let's see if I can remember this, Public Sector Human Resource Association. And they are very, very intentional in their design to assign certifications to HR professionals in the public sector. And so they have a very, very heavy emphasis on all the different nuances that public sector challenges HR with that is different from the corporate world. So there are many, many, many fine models of excellent management programs being delivered in the public sector that we would absolutely require that as probably a qualification for our vendors, demonstrate your work in the public sector specifically.
That's great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wrote that down. I'm going to look them up. I hadn't heard of them as well. I was
Yeah.
familiar with SHRM.
PESHRA
Yeah.
is, they have a little bit of an identity issue. We need to up them a little bit. I'm on the local chapter, so we're always trying to push that.
Sounds great. Thank you. And I would just, once we do have the contractor or the vendor identified, I think notifying the committee would be helpful so we can do our own research and understand who's actually going to be providing. And if that's okay, I'm going to be offering an amendment to that degree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Great pointed line of questionings. I do have Councilwoman Nikki Hudson up next.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through the chair to the director or the manager, of the 1,100 managers that would partake in this training, are those are all existing managers right now?
Through the chair to the councilwoman, yes, they are.
Right. And how would, in the future, how would other employees be recognized to be added to the training program? Through their department heads or through HR?
So through the chair to the councilwoman, I think it happens in a couple of different ways. As we're training our managers, to address succession planning and development within their individual contributors, their subordinates. Part of what I would hope our managers are being assessed on is their ability to coach and develop their employees. So they should be recognizing these characteristics and would be making recommendations. Now, for the individual contributors, I think it's pretty much a personal kind of relationship between the manager and that individual contributor through ongoing discussions, ongoing coaching, as they see those qualities, make program, enroll them. I think at the individual contributor level, we might not need the director's approval, probably the manager's approval to enroll them in this program would be acceptable, but we can talk about that. I think once somebody is hired into a management program or position for the first time, that's where the onboarding takes place. That's where the requirement for a very structured training that would most likely train to the competencies that they would now be held accountable to in their performance evaluation, they have to successfully complete those. That would most likely, in my mind, be a combination of virtual, online learning through Workday Learning, through our online learning management system. It would be some virtual training, some cohort training, and most likely one-on-one classroom training.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Director.
through the chair to the councilman, I just want to add too. So, you know, everything that Janet said in conjunction too with the performance management that was rolled out. You know, I think our expectation would be that existing managers, right, all the way up, are going to be doing a system of, you know, assessing their staff and identifying individuals who are going to be the successors for each level. And I think the performance management program that's already been rolled out is going to be a big piece of that. And as it ties into the training that's associated with this piece of legislation, you know, really, and I think us really driving home the point that succession planning is so important, you know, as these things start to take hold, that the departments put a lot of focus and energy into identifying the individuals who are going to be the next leaders.
Thank you. Through the chair, it is, you know, very important. I know that the chairman has spoken at length about the importance of promoting from within in the city, and that, you know, these are you know, good jobs, but we want to keep our employees for as long as we can, and giving them a path to stay at the city is very important. And if, you know, if this program is part of that, then I'm all for it. So thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Great points of questioning. Definitely is important for us to make sure HR is set up for success for other departments, making sure they have the resources in place, and being able to work your way up from an entry-level position to a position of manager or commissioner is something that is important for the city of Cleveland. So having it as a top priority is pretty good. I definitely will pass it over to Councilmember Joe Jones, because he was next on the list.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we could go to the actual legislation, there's some questions I have on it. If we would look at Section 2. Correction, if we could go to Section 1. And in Section 1, second paragraph, it says the selection of the consultant or consultants for services shall be made by the Board of Control. Who is the Board of Control?
Through the chair to the councilman, the Board of Control is made up of multiple individuals, directors and chiefs across the city of Cleveland.
Can we get a list of who the Board of Controls is, Mr. Chairman?
To our staff, you got that?
Thank you. If we move down to Section 2, Mr. Chairman, on the actual legislation, it talks about other governmental agencies. Can you please identify what other government agencies that will be in cooperation with what you're doing here now? To read it to be sure, it says that under Section 108B, the Charter, the purchase and/or services authorized by this ordinance may be made through cooperative arrangements with other governmental agencies. Who are those other governmental agencies?
Through the chair to the councilman, good question. So the city subscribes to vendor lists of approved vendors for different services in which we can actually contract with that have already been through a vetting process by both whoever the list is compiled by, as well as the city of Cleveland.
Do we know who those other government agencies are, Mr. Chairman, to the director?
Through the chair to the councilman, one of the main ones is the state of Ohio, for instance. There's a certified vendor list. I know that there's national vendor lists through the federal government as well.
I see. So, Mr. Chairman, can we get a request for information just to make sure that, I'm clear, I really fundamentally understand that, what other governmental agencies would an ask is? So we know the state of Ohio is one of them, correct?
Correct. Staff, you got that as well? Councilman?
Now, on the issue of other government agencies, Mr. Chairman, when you say the Federalists, can you explain, as an example, the state of Ohio, what does that mean? So I'm clear on that.
Through the chair to the councilman, so the state of Ohio certifies vendors for a variety of services in which other governmental agencies across the state of Ohio may look to that list to use for whatever that service is, or it could be a commodity, a part for something, for instance.
But do we have to, Mr. Chairman, to the director, we have to pay for that from other government agencies to gain access to lists? Or how does that work? I'm just trying to understand why the language would be put there in that way.
Through the chair to the councilman, it's just to give us the ability to use it should we so choose. There is, at least my experience with these lists, is that quite often the price that's associated with whatever it is certainly more favorable than it would be if there was a one-on-one, let's say, RFP, a response to an RFP in many cases, because they've already done all of the work to negotiate, if you will, a price on something. And so whether it's a city, a county, just another governmental agency across the state of Ohio, maybe they just don't have success on an RFP, for instance, but then they go to one of the lists and they see that there's an approved vendor for something. Our purchasing department can actually work with them directly to obtain whatever that is without the RFP process, so to speak.
And what would they obtain, Mr. Chairman, to the director?
Through the chair to the councilman, it could be anything from parts for a truck to professional services for, cybersecurity. It could be pretty much
on
anything
this
you could
particular
think of.
subject, what will they obtain?
Through the chair to the councilman, it would be probably a providing vendor that does management training.
I see. So just to make sure I'm clear, other government agencies actually meaning that you will be working with, say, for an example, the state of Ohio, maybe the city of Shaker, maybe Solon, or an agency within inside these governments. I'm confused here on why that language would be there.
Through the chair to the councilman, it's just to give us the ability, should we so choose, to go to the list.
Is that a
It's
part of
not-
like the language of the RFP?
No.
No.
It's not. It's just gives any entity the ability to go through that route should they so choose. Personally, I can't think of anything that our department has done
Okay.
through this list, but it's not uncommon for departments to do it in certain cases.
Well, it seems like it's something that we have to take offline. It seems like it's a little bit more than meets the eye. That's the reason why I want to kind of figure that out. and I still don't have it sorted here, so to speak. But I do, Mr. Chairman, for the sake of time, want to move towards some other questions I have in terms of just listening to the presentation. Is this the first time that we've had a training program in the city of Cleveland? When was the last training program that we've had?
Through the chair to the councilman, this is the first of its kind that I'm aware of.
The first of its kind.
Correct. So we do a lot of training across the city of Cleveland, our department specifically. A lot of departments also do training.
Now you see me smiling. I'm not smiling because it's just interesting that, you know, a city this large. And the distinguished lady that's with you, you've been with the city for quite some time, if I may ask.
Through the chair to the council person, it will be 8 years in June.
And you've never seen anything like this before.
I think what we haven't seen is a comprehensive management training program that standardizes the expectations and the skill set of any manager in the city of Cleveland. And I think that's important to note. As the director said, we know that there are many, many options for training throughout the city. We know that some departments have their own contracts with other training vendors. This is to standardize it across the city and hold managers accountable through the performance management program, and align that training with that.
So, Mr. Chairman, to the director, that adds me into the next level. Who creates the scope of services? Is it the Board of Control, or do you guys already have a scope of services?
Through the chair to the councilman, we developed the scope, and the scope is based off of the original assessment and feedback that we got.
Okay, so you got that, and it's not, even though it's not a part of our summary here, I am absolutely for the actual piece. Just wanted a little bit more understanding of it. So it sounds like you're going to be reaching 1,100 managers, and that's across how many different, is that the entire city of Cleveland? Would that also include our subsidiary operations as well?
Through the chair to the councilman, that's across the city of Cleveland. I'm not sure what you mean by the subsidiary.
Well, that'd be like the water department.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland Public Power. Is it for them as well?
Yes,
So it's comprehensive.
it is comprehensive.
And just remind the chair, remind the chair of the actual discussion that was, which I think is really important, is having one human resource department. So even though we're spending money out of, I would presume this is the general fund, Mr. Chairman, to the director.
Yes.
So this is, which we always have separations between the general fund and our subsidiary operations, Mr. Chairman. This is the argument that I made at the table during finance about having one human resource department serves everyone, even Cleveland City Council. Being able to do that is what our organization should really fundamentally be about, especially if we're talking about training 1,100 managers. It should be a comprehensive department. I think that we should be moving in that direction. At least this $900,000 is paying for that. Would that also, Mr. Chairman, to the director, include the airport?
Through the chair of the councilman, yes, it would be
Mr. Chairman,
all enterprise and general fund.
This is so important to pay attention to,
I'm with
because
you.
we're using general fund dollars
I'm with you, Councilman.
to subsidize training managers, and we'll talk about this offline, in subsidiary operations, and what does that fundamentally mean? And it's major in terms of the historical significance of what was and how those departments were established years ago, and what their true intentions were, and how there was always separations between their funds and the general fund that we now use, and the reason why all of that came about. So when we get a chance to talk, I'll share that information with you. And then, Mr. Chairman, for the sake of time, I would presume, of course, I appreciate this this director. I'd like to know a little bit more on the offside, how you will evaluate the outcomes of this here project, as well as, Mr. Chairman, other legislations that will probably have to be a companion to this, because since this is the first proposition of this, there has to be a part two. Normally when doing this, you don't want to start something off and then not have a continuing process of training your managers, especially, Mr. Chairman, to our director as it relates to succession planning. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield the floor.
And thank you. And also, one of the things that, from the topics that you touched on, Councilman, we're going to have an in-depth hearing with HR, Civil Service Commission, and other divisions to get this understanding of how departments are working together, and then also making sure we have those separations in line of what we need. In addition, I know the Operations Committee is working with some things that we want to see on council as well. So there may be some things that we do, some things that they do, but also to help ensure that we know the difference between the HR department as well as the Civil Service Commission. So we're going to have an in-depth hearing about each department where we could discuss those things and go deeper dive into what you are asking as far as those requests. And I know that you made a couple different points that you wanted staff to get some information directly before this come back to, if this passed out of this committee to finance, please make sure you send those over to all members of Cleveland City Council as well as our staff. So those questions that Councilman Joe Jones as well as other members of this committee have asked are answered so we can understand where we are at with this ordinance. Do we have any other questions from any council member? Councilwoman Deborah Gray.
Just want to say thank you, Chair, and also thank you, HR. I'm just reading over the ordinance, and I'm going to say that I also support this because I'm going to tell you something. It has been a long time coming to have this comprehensive management training program for the city of Cleveland. To know that you're looking for more experienced employees to come in to do specific job duties to enhance and to build a better outlook for the city of Cleveland to move forward in the future. I think this is a great step and ahead in moving to change the outlook of what the city has done and to move into the future of the city, of what we get ready to do for the city as well. So I'm just saying I support and approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Gray. I believe Councilman Shaw had an amendment he would like to introduce.
Yes, Chair. Thank you for that. I would like to add 2 amendments, if the clerk is ready as well. At the end of Section 2, to insert the Director of Human Resources shall provide written notice to the Clerk of Council whenever any purchase is made through the cooperative process, which notice shall include the details of such cooperative purchases. Is that okay, Director, just to get the notification? We're just writing that in legislation.
Through the chair to the councilman, yes, sir.
And then in Section 3, after the word authorized, to insert shall not exceed 900,000 and.
Council, okay, we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Shaw, and it was seconded by Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones.
Discussion. Through the chair, good afternoon.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, on the point, is this discussion point now with the attorney?
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second.
I just wanted to bring the committee's attention to the fact that the Board of Control will be setting compensation in this piece. So just for clarification, this ceiling of 900,000 would not impede the board's authority to set compensation. It's just whatever the board would set would be less than or equal to 900,000. I just wanted to make you aware of that fact and under Section 1 about the Board of Control setting the ultimate compensation. And what you're doing here with your Second amendment is setting that ceiling, just for clarification. Yes?
Understood.
Thank you.
Yes. So we do have a motion on the floor made by Councilman Tame Shaw,
Chair.
and it was seconded by Stephanie House Jones.
Chair, can I just confirm one thing with the
Yes.
attorney? So I just want to we are still okay with the Board of Control making the selection. We are just setting the ceiling. So we're giving the choice to the Board of Control.
Through the chair, thank you. Thanks.
All right, check.
Motion on the floor.
Been second. Is
It's
there
been
discussion?
second.
I'm open for, once, the
Yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Hold on,
once
hold
the
on.
motion.
One second, Councilman Joe Jones. I got you. So we do have the second, and we do have some discussion.
Okay, good. Like to be off for discussion.
All right,
Can you
Councilman
explain
Joe
to me
Jones?
the reason why we're putting this in here in this way?
Councilman Shaw, can you give the reason of
Yeah.
this amendment that you put on the
Which
floor?
amendment?
The first one. Are we doing two amendments, or are we doing the first one first? Or are we doing the second one? Which one are we talking about?
We can go one by one.
Are we doing both at the same time?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm referencing to the first one.
It's just so once the Board of Control chooses the actual vendor, we are notified of that. As during my comment, your questioning, I was asking, so we can also do our research and look up who the vendor is. This just requires the department to let us know once the vendor is chosen.
I see. So, Mr. Chairman, then the next question would be then, so I guess this 900,000 will not be going on as a RFP. This is just the board will actually choose the vendors. How do they get the vendors, Mr. Chairman, to the
Director?
director?
Through the chair of the councilman, so we're going to issue an RFP, but it certainly will not have a dollar amount in it.
It won't what?
It will not have a dollar amount in
It
it.
won't have a dollar amount to
No.
it?
So
No.
from that standpoint, it would not, the RFP would not have a dollar amount, but the contract that we're saying the most that they can go is $900,000, what they have initially brought to council for this comprehensive management services. And what Councilman Tame Shaw is making sure that they do not exceed that dollar amount, but they also do not just select anything without an RFP process.
I see. So, Mr. Chairman, to the director, the RFP is going to actually have a scope of services in it. And then let me ask this question. We already have a scope of, why wasn't that made available here, the scope of services?
Through the chair to the councilman, I did actually forward it to everybody following the initial presentation at the finance committee.
Okay.
So the whole scope is part of
Yesterday,
actually.
you sent it over?
I did, sir, yes.
I see. So the scope of services are going to be a part of the RFP, so it's the best bid process that you get. And you have in that scope of services also that they will be training 1,100 managers?
Through the chair to the councilman, I don't know if we'll identify the exact amount of people, but I would imagine at the very least we acknowledge it's a large group across many levels.
I see. Mr. Chairman, I have no unreadiness on the motion, but just the emphasis on who are the Board of Control.
Yep, and you will get that information, and also be mindful under Section 2, the reason why that change happens is to ensure that council actually are notified who was actually selected, as opposed to not knowing until we request it later on. So that is why the amendment is on the floor, and it was second, and call the roll.
And Mr. Chairman,
Sorry, sir. If
1 second, Councilman.
Through the chair, I apologize to interrupt. The amendment I have will provide notification if a purchase is made through the co-op process. It does not provide notification when the Board of Control makes its selection. Would you like that explicitly written under Section 2? Please note that whenever the board does select a vendor and fixes compensation, this becomes a public record when a resolution is adopted by the board. But the amendment we have over here will only inform this council if we go through the co-op process, not when a vendor is selected through the Board of Control. I just want to make sure I'm capturing what your intent is.
Councilman Shaw?
Thank you for that, attorney. I guess, yeah, the intent is to be notified when any purchase is made, not only explicitly through the co-op process. So if we need to strike out, if we strike out maybe all of the language after any purchase is made, Would that suffice?
Will that add on to?
So it would be the Director of Human Resources shall provide written notice to the Clerk of Council whenever any purchase is made, which notice shall include the details of such purchases. So I guess we would just strike out through the cooperative process and
Under section 2.
under section and strike out cooperative.
I understand it's just through the chair to the councilman, the selection by the Board of Control is not necessarily categorized as a purchase. To capture your attention, I would suggest notification to council when any purchase is made through the co-op process, or if a vendor is selected by the Board of Control. That way you're sure to get notification, and the the terms of art, if you like, are maintained for the co-op process and the selection.
You're the expert. That
That's
works.
okay.
I
Thank you.
think that's great.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Got it, Laura? All right.
Mr. Chairman, I have non-readiness.
All right, we have amendment on the floor. It's been seconded by Councilwoman House Jones. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll? Yes.
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 Thank you, seeing there's no further question. As amended, ordinance number 29-2026 has been approved. Please sign. As amended.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, committee. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we do have ordinance number 31-2026 by Councilmember Griffin by departmental request and emergency ordinance authorizing Director of Finance on behalf of the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity to enter into one or more contracts with Youth Opportunities Unlimited for administration, implementation, and management of the City of Cleveland Summer 2026 Youth and Young Adult Employment Program, and authorizing one or more contracts with public entities, individuals, or communities for purpose of implementing the program for a period of 18 months with 2 options to renew exercible by the Director of Finance.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Just great.
And Director, can you please introduce the guests you have at the table today?
Yes, so I am Sherry Ellery, the Interim Director of the Mayor's Office of Prevention, and with me today is Craig Dorn, President and CEO of YOU, and Eric Dillenbach. I'm sorry.
Okay, now, okay,
Coming around
switch your
this side.
names.
Eric Dillenbach, who is the Director of Work Experience Programs. And in the audience, I have 2 members of our team who work with YOU on this program on a day-to-day basis. Samantha Holmes, who is our Senior Program Manager, and Michael Cook, who is our Project Coordinator. Craig, would you like to introduce your team, or Eric?
Green button, press the green button.
There we go. I've done this before. From our team, we have 4 people who I want to say do the lion's share of the work, or at least 3 of them do. If you could all stand. We have Aaron Gill, our senior program manager. We have Colette Goodson, our program manager, and then we have an internship program that's special and separate, and that is Valerie Hickey, our program manager of that. Also joining us is our intern, Shayla.
Hey,
Okay.
well, welcome.
To the chair, to the committee, through the chair. The Summer Youth Employment Program is one piece of our violence prevention strategy. Poverty and the resulting trauma is one of the root causes of violence, and unfortunately, Cleveland has one of the highest poverty rates in the country. According to 2025 data, our poverty level is 30.8%, more than double the national average. While we as a city are improving every year in keeping with an all-of-government approach, the Mayor's Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity maintains its focus on workforce development, starting with our youngest citizens. Psychology, I don't know if any of you saw 60 Minutes Sunday night, but psychologist Dr. Jillian Peterson was on. She's an expert on crime and violence. And in the program, she noted that the best thing we can do is not push our kids out, but pull them in. And that is what our youth employment program is doing. Job coaches are assigned to work with the youth through orientation and the work experience. They're also available to the youth for several weeks after the work experience ends. The YOU job coach position is focused on building positive relationships that benefit the growth of young people, pulling them in. This program supports our youth and our city in a number of ways. First of all, the youth earn money that's frequently used to purchase school clothing and supplies, allows the youth to participate in activities that they may not be able to participate in otherwise, and supports the family's financial situation overall. I think we all have known a YOU participant who has used his or her money to pay a utility bill or buy food for the family. Secondly, this program also teaches youth the soft skills necessary for successful future employment, such as empathy, emotional intelligence, which includes being able to give and take constructive criticism, self-awareness, communication, and time management. It also, thirdly, it engages youth over the summer in productive, constructive, and positive activities and helps them develop a sense of pride in their accomplishments. And lastly, youth participate in financial literacy workshops that cover a variety of topics such as paychecks, taxes, budgeting, and savings. And many times this information is new information that they're taking back to their families. If you look at the presentation slide, in 2025, the YOU program served 570 students. Our contract goal was 489, but as you may know, YOU over-enrolls by approximately 30% to make up for youth who may not work their full schedule or may need to leave the program early for other obligations. This over-enrollment allows YOU to maximize their resources. Just as a reminder, we do have other stipend-based programs, some for youth as young as 10 years old, that involve community service. And of course, we support the Public Safety Career Pipeline program, which is through the Cleveland Freedom Project. And with these additional programs, we served 707 youth this year. The YOU work experience is designed as a 6-week work experience, with most participants working an average of 25 hours a week for the 6 weeks. There are some variances to this, and worksite supervisors facilitate adjustments to the schedule as necessary. The youth earn $13.50 an hour and are paid on a biweekly schedule. As you can imagine, YOU receives more applications than they are able to support financially. A lottery system is used to identify youth to move into the next phase of the application process. Youth are asked to identify career pathways that pique their interest, and the YOU recruitment team works diligently to match the youth with their interests. And this slide shows those career pathways and the career pathways that are listed on the application. In 2025 was the third year that we offered Career Academy program models. This model uses a cohort-based work experience focused on a particular career sector. This year, in collaboration with Parks and Rec, we are excited to add the Youth Development Junior Camp Leadership Academy. This academy is for youth who are interested in careers such as teaching, recreation professional, coach, sports instructors, anything dealing with youth. Youth interested in this academy will be assigned this summer as junior counselors in the Department of Parks and Rec's summer camp program. We are hoping that this career academy will produce our next generation of rec commissioners, center managers, and rec instructors. This next slide demonstrates how we have grown the program over the years. In 2024, the city provided opportunities to 245 youth. However, due to a generous additional allocation from City Council, we were able to increase our number to 570. This slide provides information on both the 570 Cleveland youth supported by the city and the 1,224 Cleveland youth supported by not only the city but by the county and other funders. In 2025, we had 17 wards, and this slide provides information as to where those youth lived. For 2026, we will be documenting based on the newly established 15 wards. And I hope that you've had a chance to review the one-pagers for each ward that provides additional metrics. And I believe you have a packet at your seat that contains those ward one-pagers. Our next slide provides information on the total number of applications received in 2025. Of the 3,582 applicants from the city of Cleveland, 1,224 were funded. 41 of those participated in internships, and collectively, Cleveland youth earned over $2 million. The 570 youth that our contract supported earned a total of $974,993.59. We are seeking authorization to enter into a contract with YOU for $1,499,337, which will support a contract goal of 415, 400 seats in the summer employment program, and 15 internships. Based on historical analysis, YOU overhires by 30%, which means YOU could possibly enroll as many as 542 youth for the Cleveland contract. Oh, okay, thanks. During our operation and budget hearings, we were asked to provide information based on a potential of additional $500,000 that may be awarded through reconciliation. If this was to occur, we would be able to increase our contract goal by 157 additional youth. And so you see those figures on the board now. So with that, we will entertain any questions.
Thank you, Interim Director, for this presentation and in-depth information that you have provided. This is a really important program for our youth, and I just remind our members of this committee, Summer Youth Program is an opportunity for youth to be able to seek employment. The window opened up February 1st every year, and it will be continued on until April, is it April or May? May 1st. Up until May 1st, which is a great opportunity for students in the city of Cleveland, as well as Cuyahoga County, to participate in this program. I know this council have advocated through the years to ensure that youth are able to find jobs, and even if you look down on the breakdown of your ward, it shows you the data from the year previously regarding this program, which is something that is very important. In addition, this also allows us to be able to collaborate. One of the challenges that I believe that YOU is having is finding those employers who wants to employ our students. I know through the presentation, Interim Director mentioned the fact that recreation opportunities I definitely want to see that more departments in the city of Cleveland actually get involved in this program. So my first question would be, do we have a list of actual city departments that participate with employing youth into our summer job program? Do we have any list like that?
We can get you that list.
I definitely would like to see that list. And then also, from the standpoint, if it is a city department, what is the necessary steps does it take for that department to actually become an employer or a site supervisor or anything like that to be a participant in YOU?
To the chair, it's actually a very easy process. There's a link on our website, youcle.org, and they can register on the website, and our team will reach out and contact them. Or I can give you a business card, and you can contact me, and I will have our employer relations team reach out to departments. To your question about list of departments who are employers, we're in the process right now of recruiting employers for this summer. So we could look back and see which departments have been employers in the past, and then let you know who has already registered so far this year.
Okay.
And then kind of poke about who's been employers in the past. But we're not all the way through.
Okay.
So I don't want to like raise alarms of
No,
people who haven't maybe completed the process all the way. But we could encourage more departments to get involved because we have lots of youth in lots of different career pathways that we're trying to connect more or do more career alignment where youth are coming to us across lots of different pathways and we're trying to connect them to their career interest. And the city has lots of different opportunities, so that would be wonderful.
Yes, and that's very important because we want to make sure we have as many opportunities for exposure for our children to be able to see different career opportunities that they may not envision. I know oftentimes our youth is quick to say, hey, we want to go to the rec centers, but what else is available? What do we have at the water department? What do we have in public works? What do we have potentially at the airport? And then what do we have here at Cleveland City Council? So, Mr. Eric, I definitely would want your card so our council staff can work to see how we can be able to get certified as a council to be able to employ potential residents or young folks into our departments and our offices so they can be able to learn some different things that council members are doing as well. So what I think is for the best causes to help us as a council, possibly have it set up to a system where the kids will be employed through the council, but then they will be working in our individual offices so we can be able to help provide some assistance so therefore residents in your neighborhood can learn a little bit more and do some things for 6 weeks throughout the summer, which would be really, really great, I believe. In addition to that, I definitely know a lot of the work that you do is really good, and I know we have some different data, but I know when it's talking about violence prevention, everyone gets into one cause or things like that. So I definitely would say from question I would definitely ask is, how will the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunity measure the program's impact on violence prevention? I know that I am a firm believer that once you work in a job, it keeps you out of idle time, lurking around doing whatever you can when you're a young teenager, like myself at one point in time. But I definitely would say, will there be any neighborhood level data tracking to demonstrate the correlation between youth engagement and then potential reduction in incidents? If it's something we can't figure out right now, is there some ways to show or look at different data points to see how we work in collaboration on the things that we're doing to keep our youth safe by keeping them employed as well?
To the chair, we are working with several other departments to try to address this issue. Figuring out how many didn't get involved is because they were participating is kind of a messy one.
Yes.
But I think that, we're trying to work with some of the other departments to come up with a metric that makes sense that we can gather.
Yes, and then also from that standpoint, I believe making some money keeps me out of trouble. I know it does. It did for me at times, and sometimes it didn't. But working together, I think, is something that I believe if we figure out what we can measure on a short term for 6 weeks, it could possibly be something that we could look for beyond just temporary summer and placement. So I wanted to also ask, what structure or career pathways are being created currently to possibly help this? I believe 6 weeks is a great start, but how do we start to figure out how to employ our young people throughout the year? And one of the things I'm thinking of from the fact that we just went through budget hearings and seeing that there are vacancies in the city of Cleveland, when have we thought about what potential roles that can be job or career opportunities for our kids that are possibly those chronic vacancies within the city, if that's some things that we can work together to start to study, because that can be also another dollar amount that goes into helping keep our city safe, but also getting them employment possibly more than just during the summer, such as them getting offers or understanding industry, being recognized, the different credentials, apprenticeship programs, or just opportunities for just permanent employment helps our young folks out a lot. So I definitely think there's a way that we should work with this committee to do research and also assess how do we get the philanthropic community more involved than us just having a discussion. I know I talked to and met with Craig as well as UNM director, and we talked about different models that are going on potentially in Boston and the work that they do with youth as far as employment, and us figuring out what can we do here, who should be at the table, who should we be working with, and then how we also leveraging the opportunities that we provide from this council to help other businesses to say, what are you doing to help invest in our kids? It's not just a government approach. It should be all of approach when it talk about saving lives, when it's talking about helping residents to reach employment opportunities. So I think that is something very, very much important for us to look in. And I definitely will now just open it up to the council members for questions to talk about ordinance number 31-2026. Any council members? Councilwoman House Jones.
Thank you. Through the chair to the team, good afternoon. I just had a quick question to find out how many corporate partners do we have currently investing in our summer youth program?
To the councilwoman, through the chair, I believe you're talking about that they're investing their own dollars. In terms of an exact number, I would say it's around 50. Anticipating that you'd be asking this question, some that I would want to highlight are CVS, University Hospital. We're happy to be back on board with the Cleveland Clinic after a number of years of a gap. Aramark and some other hospitality companies. Also, in terms of providing money directly, the three I'd want to call out are Bank of America, KeyBank, and Mandel Foundation. We can get you a full list, though, but it's close to 50.
Right, and so I just a clarifying point through the chair to the CEO there. When you say 50, that's 50 businesses who are hosting and or contributing or...
To the councilman, through the chair, no, this is just contributing. Hosting is closer to 300-400.
Okay, all right. And is that, what does, through the chair to the team, how does that compare with last year? And are we, have we set a goal to increase because we need more businesses contributing? And what would it look like to get others? I don't know how that would work, but trying to work to encourage our corporate entities to actually contribute to this for everybody who calls our office about, you name it. This is absolutely a prevention strategy to get our young people positively engaged. And if businesses and communities are not willing to invest, then, the time for complaining is really, falling on, like, we got to do more than just talk about it. This is a proven strategy, especially in the summertime. So if you could just talk about the comparison of your last year's numbers to this year's, and what do you think it will take for us to get more corporate investment?
To the councilwoman through the chair, so it is an increase. We've been increasing it every year. Last year was closer to 30, so it's an increase of almost double. The question of there's I think a two-part answer, and I don't know if Eric would like to add anything else. But two thoughts come to mind as to how to get more businesses involved. One is the process is the exact same process Eric outlined, and it is very easy just to reach out either to Eric or a member of our team. That there are 4 people who right now are doing nothing but recruiting companies, and so reaching out to them. One of the areas, though, is for each of you to, in your neighborhoods, reach out to companies that you know or organizations, even if it's not in your neighborhood. One item I would like to call out, we're particularly interested in careers. We have a funding for careers in what's called the built environment. That's construction, facilities maintenance, but it's also sustainability and urban forestry. So if there's any companies in your wards or that you know of in the city, we would love for you to connect them. And if you connect them to us, we can do the heavy lifting. I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Thank you for bringing that up to the councilwoman through the chair. We actually have funding for 125 placements in the built environment realm. So we would really appreciate, that's a double the amount of placements we had in that area last year. And it's particularly hard to find placements in the construction zone for youth. And there's tons of youth who are really interested in construction. So if you know of opportunities in your wards, it would be, please connect with us. And we would be more than happy to come with you and meet business leaders and pitch what YOU is about, or even to come to your ward meetings and to meet with families and participants to talk about what it is we do. But also just any businesses, because one of the hardest things that we have to do is to place youth, knowing that families don't want their youth to go far away from home and to get on buses and travel across town. So we try to keep youth as close to home as possible. And so sometimes distance to employers is a factor. So if you are looking around your ward and thinking, or if you're looking at your ward reports and thinking, my number's a little low, give us a call, because we would really love to partner with you. And we have a fantastic team of employer partnerships that would love to be in contact.
Yeah, and I would like to add one other, as I've thought about your question. The chair mentioned Boston is a model that we're looking at. And in Boston, their version of the Greater Cleveland Partnership helps recruit. So I do think it's incumbent on us to, at some point, work with the Greater Cleveland Partnership, because when that entity is saying they want summer jobs, it's much more likely to lead to success.
Through the chair, thank you for that question.
Thank you, Councilwoman. She always does a great job, and one of the things she is nice about today is the fact that we do need to have a collaborative plan to be able to get the community involved in this purchase. I thank you all for bringing those updated numbers to be able to explain what we're doing. But then when you say built environment, is that 18 to 24-year-olds or?
Through the chair, it could be 14 to, our summer program is for 14 to 19-year-olds. Most of our construction placements are for 16 to 18-year-olds. But again, built environment is construction, architecture, sustainability, so it could be urban gardening, solar, all kinds of opportunities within the sustainability zone. And Craig, you had a really good one that I'm forgetting. Not construction or architecture, but facilities maintenance.
Sure.
Okay, facility maintenance. All right, I definitely wanted to, any other questions from the committee? Councilman Joe Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, this is an organization that's been with us for quite some time. I know that you've expanded into other cities and territories. What is the total overall budget for your program?
To the councilman, through the chair, clarification, the organizational budget or the program budget?
You're the CEO, right? So the organization that you're the CEO of the whole entire boat, not parts and pieces.
To the councilman, through the chair, $19 million.
19 million? And is that a part of the presentation that the council has been given in terms of your annual report?
To the councilman, through the chair, I don't recall that we've ever presented our entire array of services to the council. Would welcome the opportunity to do that. Most of our programming is also in Cleveland. Two notable examples is we have programs in the schools. We have about 15 staff who rotate. Some are permanently housed in schools and some rotate. And they serve the Cleveland School District primarily. And they provide job coaching, training, and sometimes placement after graduation. We also have
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, rescind my time. Rescinding my time. Mr. Chairman, want to get specific, so I understand all the programming language, right? So your organization has 19 million. So the question is, does that 19 million serve the 10 municipalities as stated in the presentation that you have given to council?
To the councilman, would you say the 10 municipalities?
You have the chart of top municipalities that you provide services to. It starts with Cleveland, Garfield, Euclid, Cleveland Heights, Maple Heights, East Cleveland, Warrensville Heights, South Euclid, Shaker Heights, and Parma. So would that include the 19 million?
Yes.
Okay. So then of the 19 million, do you have an annual report for that 19 million?
To the councilman, through the chair, yes, we do.
Can you make that provided, Mr. Chairman, to our CEO here, have that given to us?
Staff, do you have that Councilman Joe Jones is requesting an annual report from Youth Opportunities Unlimited? Are you for last year, Councilman, or what
No,
year?
it's whenever their last annual report
last
is
one?
fine. Just
All
to
right.
give me an idea, you know, and I presume, Mr. Chairman, that these services that we have currently that's being made in the presentation that we have up on the board is the services for this particular municipality, or is the same services all across the board?
To the councilman, through the chair, this is for this municipality.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to take a look at what services are being offered to the other municipalities as well. And Mr. Chairman, just want to take note that in the actual piece of the legislation that we read, it talked about trauma. How do you handle trauma briefly, Mr. Chairman, to your CFO? Do you have someone that's trained on the staff that deals with traumatic issues? And I would presume that that is the case. Is that the particular case for the city of Cleveland, or is that numerous municipalities?
To the chairperson, to the
Chair to the Councilman.
to the council person through the chair, thank you for the help.
Gotcha.
Every young person who works with us during the summer is assigned a case manager. And that is actually not a part of the staffing model that is billed to the city of Cleveland. It's resources that are leveraged to the city of Cleveland. And throughout the summer and then through the year follow-up, those case managers work with our participants to set goals and reduce barriers throughout this summer. So as
They're able, Mr. Chairman, to, your name Stanley?
Eric.
Eric, I'm sorry.
Yes, you're
Mr.
okay.
Chairman, to Eric, thank you. I have sometimes a thing with the names. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, to Eric. So of that, does that person have training in traumatic experiences, or do they recognize, they do have training in that?
They do. We
Okay.
provide ongoing training year-round, sir.
And then, Mr. Chairman, if we turn the page 4 on the presentation, it talked about the various different opportunities or the various different areas where, websites where students can be matched up. Now, these are all different, these are just topic matters. Under these, like, say, for an example, construction, does it break down the number of jobs they might be able to get in terms of different, businesses? Just to add on what my colleague Stephanie House-Jones talked about, the number of participants as relates to corporate America.
To the councilman through the chair, in our academy structure, which is a piece of our program model that exists within our summer program, we have 875 seats that are cohort-based training that involves hands-on work experience, training in a particular career field, and those break down into a number of different factors. So they are 91 in the construction and architecture. So they definitely have slots aligned, and I can provide you with this breakdown. It's
I
not a
appreciate
problem.
that, Mr. Chairman, to Eric. Where it says number, where it talks about the number of students served in the city of Cleveland, that's a total of 570. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman, to Eric?
That was correct for last year.
And do you have a breakdown, ethnic breakdown of that group, Mr. Chairman, to Mr. Eric? If so, if you can make that available.
Got that, staff? Can you repeat that, Councilman Joe Jones?
Ethnic breakdown of the services that are provided in the city of Cleveland.
Yes, we certainly do. I believe that our annual report was emailed to all of you, and it does have the racial and ethnic breakdown for all the summer report, the annual report for our summer program.
But that doesn't include, that's for that particular report. So we have that right now in front of us.
You have that, and then you also, on your ward report,
And that gives a breakdown too.
it'll have your breakdown of
Okay.
your,
Excellent work.
yes.
Excellent
And then for this summer, it will be specific to your new ward.
Outstanding.
Yes, yes, sir.
And I looked at the chart, so I appreciate the hard work that was done to make, because I'm quite sure you were told that from the very beginning when you started, right? All right. So and that was what, 30-some years ago or more?
To the councilman, through the chair, I'm really glad you asked this question, because especially with 2 new members,
I saw
I
the
did want
smile.
to underscore. So YOU was founded by the city of Cleveland and the business community in 1982. So we've been doing this since summer of 1983 in partnership with the city of Cleveland.
And then, Mr. Chairman, if I could just get a breakdown of what that 1.4 is that we have here on the total. Now, of course, I'm quite supportive of the youth programs. But what is that actual breakdown? I'm quite sure you have that for page 8. If we could get the total breakdown and what that means, then I would be appreciative of that.
Through the chair, to the councilman, you want a further breakdown than
That's
what
correct.
you have there?
Yes, ma'am.
That was emailed to you, but we'll get it to you.
Is that a part of what? Because I have some documents here.
Proposal in the budget
So that's a part of the actual proposal?
and budget, yes.
And is that a part of the annual? It's not a part of the annual report? I don't have
No,
that.
it's not part, through the
So-
chair.
So there's some information that was sent to your email. We'll make sure we get the follow-up to send to you, Councilman.
Okay, I don't have that piece. I'm trying to get good, Stephanie, so I don't have that. So we will get that. And then in terms of reconciliation, so we are aware that the number of reconciliation, we're hoping to get 500,000. And how did we come with that number, Mr. Chairman?
So one of the things I can say is that last year, when we met as a council, we were discussing the fact that YOU from February 1st to May 1st, over alarming number of youth in Cleveland actually applied for YOU. But one of the harsh realities we found out is that YOU did not have the amount of funding to help employ all of those youth. So we were able to look and reconciliate with the council to say add additional $500,000 so we can get more youth hired. And I believe that was the case to be able to increase the funding to $500,000.
Okay, so so we left off from where we started last year with the possibilities of adding it in this year?
Yes, and I'm gonna let the interim director chime in and make sure we got that correct.
Through the chair to the councilman, this year, as of 1:30 today, we've had 3,731 unduplicated applications from youth in Cleveland only. Wow. So one of the things that at our operation and budget hearing, Councilman Polinsik made the request that he wanted to know how many additional youth would be served if they were able to come up with an additional $500,000. And that's the additional funding that you see on the screen. If you were able to secure an additional $500,000 through reconciliation, it would be an additional 157 youth plus the over-enrollment numbers, which would be 204.
Yeah, that, Mr. Chairman, is, something we certainly want to work on. And it goes right back to my colleague asking the question about corporate sponsorship. So, being able to pitch in, because technically speaking, you're doing the work to helping us help our young folks be prepared to be a part and be a participant in the job market. So it seems like to me, Mr. Chairman, thank you, sir, for giving me more time, to really explore how do we do that and how do we work together as a body, both the legislative branch of government as well as the executive branch of government, and we've had this conversation quite some length when I first came back. We had quite of a talk during the last hearings to great depth. So we're still asking the same stuff here today. So I would like, Mr. Chairman, to see some concrete movement in that area. I do have some more questions. I'll take it offline, but I do want to ask about when our young folks are signed up into your programs. They do get paid. They do receive a stipend. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman? Do they receive?
Yes, so they do get paid for their services during the 6 weeks in the summer working through YOU.
I see. And where would that cost be here? Would it be in wages and
Wages and
benefits?
fringe, through the chair.
So that's the breakdown. So that's not just wages and benefits for staff. It's the wages and benefits for the young people. Okay. So then the requirements here that you have on one of your pages, are they required to show that they have registered with Selective Service?
To the councilman through the chair, if they are male 18 and older, yes.
They have to, so that's a part of your actual requirement? Or is it
I
a part of
believe
the
that is
government
part
requirement?
of the government requirement. It's not ours, correct? It's not ours.
It's not your requirement, but
Yeah.
these are the requirements that they would have to actually, on this page, go through in order to receive their check.
Only 18-year-old males.
I see. All right, so yeah, and so Mr. Chairman, there's a lot to look in here. Would love, when you're getting ready to do orientation, would love to go to your orientation session.
Yes, and they will get the information over to you when they start the orientations, as well as the breakdown that you see in your folder of how many Ward 1 residents have actually worked through the YOU program. And also, we would definitely be working with them to see how do we get more employers to be involved in this program. I know you understand the importance of trades, and I believe we got a great partnership that we're going to expand on. Thank you, Councilman. And I will go to Councilman Shaw next.
All right, thank you, Chair. Just had a few questions. I appreciate your time today. Good afternoon. This is my first time understanding the program, so just wanted to walk through and understand a little more of how it was structured. and understand some of the different costs that you have outlined here. So can you just explain briefly what like the operational structure of YOU is like in terms of do you have team leads out there that are also paid? Like what's the staffing structure look like to the directors through the chair?
Yeah, to the council, to the chair, I'll start and Eric will finish. About half, a little over than half, 840,000 wages and fringe is for the youth directly. The operational cost tend to be youth supportive services. We do provide 2 weeks of bus tickets, for example, to the youth until they get their first pay. We also have, in terms of staff costs, all those staff are the coaches or the we don't charge the city the resource support specialists, but the team sitting behind me, they have job coaches assigned to the young people who visit the young people at the work site every week or more often if needed. And then a lot of the staff costs are also used for the intake and orientation. We would invite all of you to come to an orientation. There will be one in Councilman Jones's ward, but they are throughout the city. We try to have our orientations in the neighborhoods as much as possible. And so staff costs us to make sure the youth are having a good experience. I'll defer to Eric a little bit more on operational costs.
Yeah. To the councilman through the chair, in this budget, 10 staff 10 of our full-time core staff are charged to this budget. 2 are at 100%. 2 are at between 45 and 50%, and 6 are between 5 and 20%. So we're really leveraging a lot of staff time. We have 31 staff members who are contributing to the work of making everything happen, who are 100% leveraged to making it happen. That's actually our senior manager, Aaron. Valerie, our manager for internships, all of our resource and support specialists, and then 11 seasonal team members who are our job coaches and intake team. So in the work experience department, all our portions of it, there are about 59 people in the work experience department. And in the summer, that will swell by almost 90 seasonal staff members who are brought on board to help us. Intake is when we greet all of our parents and guardians as they come in from April 7th through May 16th. And in that time period, families come in and have to bring in the appropriate documentation. For the city contracts, all they have to do is bring in youth identification documentation and proof of residency in the city of Cleveland. It's heaven, because our TANF contract, which is wonderful and blesses us and the community, but they have a lot of extra documentation that they have to provide. So when people learn that they only have to prove citizenship in the city of Cleveland, they're very excited. So thank you for making it so flexible. So then we have that team that does that during that time period. And then we have another team of job coaches that start. They're with us to train in preparation for orientation. So at the end of our intake season, when Sherry, as a parent or guardian, finishes the intake process, she will sign up her young person for their orientation day. Youth have to complete orientation in order to start work with us. And then from May 30th through June 6th is two a day orientations for young people other than Sunday. And we are working our seasonal team really hard, and they love it. It's a very energized and engaged week. It's when our young people find out where they're going to be placed, and our team helps them figure out how to log into our timekeeping system, give them some coaching on soft skills to be ready for their first day of work, help them figure out how they're going to get to work, safely and on time, and be really prepared for that first day.
Thank you for that. I appreciate
Yes.
that walkthrough. That helps. I wanted to understand, you mentioned the job coaches. Those are the folks that are doing the site visits, directly working with the youth.
Correct.
Is that correct? How much are they paid?
They are paid, if they're hired directly by us, $19 an hour. I mean, I guess either way, their take-home pay is $19 an hour. Because of the number that we have to hire, we do partner with staffing agencies, and that rate is higher if we have to hire through the staffing agencies.
And do they qualify for benefits?
So, yes. No. Let me think. No. Most of the job coaches don't qualify for benefits because they're only with us for 3 months, not even 3 months. Some of our seasonal staff are with us, have already started in January and are with us through August. They're directly hired by
And
our team, and they qualify for
Sorry to
benefits.
cut you off. Just clarification. You mentioned you have 11 job coaches
Yes.
that are part of your staff. Are they not full-time?
They are seasonal staff.
Oh, they're also
They are
seasonal.
full-time, but they won't start until May 15th.
Okay.
And they finish August 8th.
Got it. So the job coaches are paid 19 an hour, and then the ones that are staffed through the temps agency are paid higher?
They're paid $19 an hour. We pay the staffing agency a higher
I
rate.
see. That makes sense.
So everyone takes home $19 an hour. It's just the budget line is a little higher. So
How much are the students paid again? I know that was
$13.50.
$13.50.
And I would like to acknowledge that the city of Cleveland is the trendsetter in that you all helped us to raise that rate across the board, which was very much appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah, that wasn't me, but we'll take the credit, I guess. Yeah.
No, listen, I'll give you the credit. So the youth should give you the credit. So thank
And then,
you.
can you also, some of the staff that you have behind here, some of the senior managers, they also work directly with students, is that correct?
They do.
And how much are they paid?
I don't know off the top of my head. I could get you that information.
Yeah, that would be great if we can
Yes.
understand. As a union organizer, it's always important for me that the people who are actually doing the work
Yes.
and on the front lines are adequately
100%.
paid, and we want to make sure that's reflected as well.
100%.
So thank you for
We
that.
would be happy to get that for you. I don't know it off the top of my head.
And Councilman, can you make sure you restate that question to make sure our staff have that question so we can get that answered?
Yeah, I wanted to just know the pay scale and the ranges of the staff that is directly working with the students, so we can make sure that they're also adequately paid. And maybe that would mean we increase your compensation if that means we can actually get those folks paid as well. So just to understand. Thank you. And then my final question, I had one more. It's escaped me right now. If anybody else has, please go ahead. If not, I do have some amendments too. And I checked with the attorney, but I'll wait.
Hold on, any other council member? Seeing there's no other, Councilman Shaw does have an amendment he would like to bring to the floor. Councilman Shaw?
Thank you to the chair. I know we were considering a couple smaller amendments, but after talking with the attorney, I think it'll be simpler if I'm going to move to amend by removing Section 2 from the legislation. And then in Section 3, inserting after the word authorized to insert shall not exceed 1,499,337. I see the attorney is at the mic, so I'll go ahead and let him chime in.
Attorney?
I'm sorry. Just wanted to point out that that not to exceed amount would not include the 500,000, which council is still working on. So if you're going to set the ceiling at 1.499 and the director comes back for that 500,000, or whether you want to provide that right now so they have the flexibility, it's up to you.
I'll defer to the chair, but my understanding is that we are not finished with reconciliation, so we cannot set that higher amount as of yet. Is that correct, Chair?
Correct.
Understood. Thank you.
And one more note to the law department. As we're striking out the section 2, I just wanted to understand one of the parts is that the section 2 gives authority to the Director of Finance and the Office of PIO to enter into contract with public entities, individuals, or communities. That will not be reflected in the first section. Is that going to change the ability for the finance department, the department, to carry this out?
Yes, through the chair, the original amendments would have conditioned the whole of Section 2 on legislative approval. That would mean the director, PIO, would have to come back for any authority. Right now, with this amendment, this is a direct award to YOU for all the services described in Section 1. It does not give the Director of Finance the authority to enter into those contracts with other public entities listed under Section 2, because that would have been conditioned on legislative approval, from my understanding.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. To the chair, for my amendments, striking section 2 and inserting the ceiling of 1.499 million.
Thank you.
Councilmember Shaw has amendment on the floor. Is there a second? Councilwoman House Jones has second the amendment. Any discussion?
How would this impact it as relates to, and I heard what the legal department had to say, but how would this affect it as it relates to entering into the contracts with the various different public entities, individuals, and communities? And then when it talks about implementation of elements, what is the definition of what that fundamentally means for the 2026 Summer Youth and Young Adult Empowerment Program? And does that have an impact on the period of time of 8 months?
Yeah, if I
And the
may,
renewable
through
capacities?
the chair, to Councilman Jones, we're striking section 2 in my amendment. And
So is that section 2 that says the Director of Finance on behalf of the Office of Prevention, Intervention, and Opportunities? So how would that impact, or would that, I guess I would ask the Director, how would this impact you, or are you okay with it? Because if you're okay with it, then it's not discussion.
One second. So, Councilman, you asked the question. Councilman Shaw is going to answer the question first, and then if we need any more clarification, we'll possibly toss it to the table. This is an amendment that Councilman Shaw has put on the floor. It's been seconded. Now it's open for discussion. He heard your question. Please allow him the time to answer it so you can get clarification.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman.
my understanding is that is just some legal language. As we are being presented with this request, it is only foreseen to be offered to YOU. We're not anticipating offering this contract to other agencies, public entities, individuals, or communities. So that language is just unnecessary. So this would just simplify the legislation and still allow the Office of PIO to enter into this contract with YOU.
I have no unreadiness, Mr. Chairman.
All right, and then you also got the second part where we want to put the dollar amount into the legislation. And also, we can amend this at the reconciliation in the Finance Committee if we need be.
No worries, Mr. Chairman, no unreadiness.
All right. We have a motion, we have an amendment on the floor. It's been second. Council Clerk, can you call the roll? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Seeing that we have no more questions from the committee, ordinance number 31-2026, as amended, has passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Problem, council members, please sign this ordinance. And as of 3:30, Workforce Education, Training, Youth Development Committee as adjourned.